Well, good afternoon and welcome to Live Impact News right here on the 13 News Now app. We are joining you at 1:01 p.m. on June 5th, and it is not just June 5th, it is a Friday. We are here. We did it. The People's Producer, Nia Campbell, you did it. You made it to Friday. Congratulations. Congratulations to all of you at home. We've already celebrated with Hunter quite a bit today. He was with us on our morning stream. It's a double Live Impact day for Hunter Force.
New outfit.
Not only... New outfit. Yep, he had on the quarter zip, the QZ for the morning stream. Right. Now he's moved over to the suit and tie. And not only is it a Friday, it's the Friday of the first week of hurricane season. We are through the first week of hurricane season, the first week of meteorological.
It's tough.
Summer.
I'm right there with you.
Okay. A week where maybe I've said
to not say it as often as I can.
It's a hard word to say. Meteorological. Bang. We got it. We did it. We're pros in here on Live Impact News. So much, though, that we are now going to give you a forecast for your weekend weather.
And Nia, take it away.
It's going to be a hot weekend in the 90s.
There she goes.
Come on.
She knows everything,
come
truly.
On.
Not only can she produce,
yep,
but she can do the weather.
And
Jack of all trades.
She is also on-air talent now as she pops on Live Impact News every once in a while.
Right.
A positive affirmations. Positive affirmations.
Right.
Now, that was a great start. Hunter.
But yes, it is going to be
How
hot.
hot is it?
How hot is it going to be? Mid to low 90s. Today, tomorrow, Sunday.
Very hot.
So it's going to be hot. But that's it. 3 days of the heat, and then we cool it back down. 96 degrees on Saturday, mostly sunny. If you're outdoors for a longer period of time, don't want to forget your sunglasses, your sunscreen, your water. Especially if you're, heading to the beach and you're just soaking up in the sun, maybe bring some shade as well. A nice tent, perhaps, or umbrella. 94 on Sunday, mostly sunny again. Heading into the late afternoon and evening, a chance for an isolated shower or thunderstorm. It's not looking to be much. Some of us may not see a thing. So just want to keep that in mind. You could not. But if you're heading to the beach, it's beautiful out. This is not a great camera. It's a little dirty, but that's okay. We're in the mid to upper 80s, 88 in Norfolk, 88 in Virginia Beach, 86 in Newport News, 87 in Suffolk, 86 in Elizabeth City and Chesapeake. One thing I want to point out.
Golf claps for the dew points. Golf claps for the dew points.
Golf claps?
So typically, if we have a summer day in those high 80s, low 90s temperatures, typically what would our dew points look like here in Hampton Roads?
I mean, mid to upper 60s.
And here
low
we are.
70s.
Mid 50s. So it is not quite, feels like it's even cooler than the actual. We never get that in Hampton
Never.
Roads.
That's what I wanted to point out. It's not a whole lot, but cooler nonetheless. Feels like if it's 88 in Norfolk, dew points are in the low 70s. Bless you, Connor. Oh,
Thanks.
Sorry, I didn't realize.
No, I
you turned your mic off.
I did turn my mic off. I think that was a big one. I think they heard that too.
Yeah, they definitely heard that.
Heard it.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. All right, we're off to a hot start
He's
here.
just so excited.
Yeah.
I did learn yesterday if you look into a bright light, some people sneeze, and it's bright in here, so that could be it.
Is that right?
Yes.
I ply my trade in here, though. I can't be afflicted with that issue.
Newport News is 86, but it feels like 85. And like I was saying, in the middle of the summer when dew points are in the low 70s, it's normally, 88, 90, and feels like 95, 98. So it's the opposite today. So get outside and enjoy it.
This is really, it is a rare treat here in Hampton Roads.
Yeah.
Right?
For sure.
Always, not always, obviously, but most of the time here in Hampton Roads, that feels like temperature is a couple degrees up from the temperature outside. The opposite, even more reason to enjoy it.
Beach day, looking good. Look at the water temperatures. We've reached a new territory.
We're in the 70s.
We're in the 70s.
It's a comfortable swimming situation.
You're not
pending
gonna get
safe riptide conditions.
Right. I mean, moderate risk today. They have come down over the last couple of days. Surf height around 2 to 3 feet, but that UV index is very, very high. But as we go down to Kill Devil Hills, now at a moderate risk as well, but a high risk and parts of the Outer Banks. So you want to keep that in mind. No matter whether the rip current risk is low or high, you want to be careful getting into the water no matter what. Satellite radar is looking good. Up and down the eastern seaboard, it is a good day. If you're up in New England, it's looking good. If you're down in Florida, it's looking good. If you're in Tennessee, Kentucky, Ohio, Pennsylvania, enjoying a lot of sunshine and heat. Heading into this evening, if you're going out on the town, it is a Friday night, so you may be going to dinner, the movies, a walk, a show, perhaps, upper 70s, low 80s.
This is where we bring in the People's producer, Naya Campbell. Naya, Hunter
she always has something fun
always
going
got
on.
something firing in here on a Friday. Hunter's given a number of multiple choice options. Feel free to choose any one of them.
I will be sitting on my couch watching Love Island.
Very nice.
With the
that's
windows
right.
open or AC?
AC.
Yeah.
It's Love Island week, right? This is the premiere happened, and it's all the buzz. New season going well so far.
This is my NBA finals.
This is your NBA finals, which, thanks for bringing that up. And not to steal the shine from Love Island.
Nope.
Game 2, NBA Finals, tonight on ABC. Game 1 was beyond entertaining, hyper-competitive, high-level basketball being played throughout the game. And Game 2, Hunter, can we put the camera on Hunter quick here? Can we go camera 2?
So this is like exactly how the Knicks shoot.
Okay. Strong follow-through. Minimal
and
elbow
always,
from Hunter there. Those elbows just do not move. It's all wrist.
So Game 2 tonight is another win by the Knicks, I fear.
Because Hunter Force predicted the sweep.
Right.
So Janet Roach predicted Spurs in 7. Hunter Force predicted Knicks in 4. And when the Knicks won Game 1, Hunter came walking through the studio during the 4 p.m. yesterday with his fake broom right in front of Janet, just openly taunting her on the pick. Be forewarned, Hunter, it is a long series.
The good news is, if the Knicks do lose tonight, I don't have to encounter Janet tomorrow.
That's a great point. You played that so well.
I did.
We here at 13 News Now, you do your trash talking on Friday, trash talking on Thursday, late in the week, so that you can avoid the consequences for your own actions.
Exactly.
Okay, very good.
But the good news is everyone's going to be in a good mood this weekend because it's going to be sunny and warm.
Mm-hmm.
Low 90s heading into Saturday afternoon. Maybe a few clouds. Maybe that won't put you in a good mood. You know, sometimes the heat, people could be a little on edge.
But not this
it's
week.
Hot.
Not this week, because this week we got those low dew points.
Right. Well, it'll be a little bit more humid tomorrow.
Oof.
But not crazy.
Okay.
And then
Will the feels like be higher or lower than the actual
I think
temp?
it'll be
About
around the same.
Okay, cool.
Maybe a degree warmer,
We'll take it.
but not bad. Waking up in the mid-70s on Sunday. By the afternoon, again in the low 90s. A shower or storm possible heading into the afternoon and evening. Again, not very widespread at all. Some of us could see absolutely nothing. But you want to keep that in mind. And there is the chance to see an isolated severe storm heading into the afternoon and evening on Sunday. Not everyone will see a thunderstorm. But you could get one that kind of fires up. It'll be very hot. But there isn't going to be a whole lot of lift in the atmosphere, which helps those thunderstorms grow. So we'll have to see how that kind of plays out. But right now, under a level 1 out of 5 risk for severe storm. Main threat would be some strong gusty winds. Here's a look at the tropics. No tropical activity expected over the next 7 days in the Atlantic. We are looking A-OK for right now. But never let your guard down.
Never let your guard down. It's only that first week of hurricane season.
But over in the Pacific, we do have Tropical Storm Amanda. Hello. Winds at 45 miles an hour. It's a weak system. It's not going to affect any land. And it will continue to weaken over the weekend and eventually fizzle out, become a remnant low, and then Amanda is pieced out. And we will never have to see her again.
Very nice.
Even though she didn't really do much. So that was dramatic of me.
But that's what we like to see, right? Out in the open ocean, not impacting Hawaii, the West Coast, anything like that.
Exactly. But we do have 2 areas we are watching off the coast of Mexico and Central America. In orange, about a 60% chance of development over the next 7 days. Area in red, about a 70% chance over the next week. So 2 more areas in the Eastern Pacific We'll have to look and monitor. But for us here in the Atlantic and Hampton Roads, we are looking beautiful and hot. 92 in Norfolk today, 88 in Virginia Beach, 91 in Franklin, and 90 in Windsor. A little bit more comfortable in Cape Charles today, low 80s, 86 in Matthews, 89 in Ahoskie, 90 in Hertford, Knott's Island, 87 today, mid 80s in the Outer Banks. Beautiful. Shout out to them. Now, it is going to be AC weather tonight, at least for me. 70 degrees. AC's cranking.
Well, AC's cranking, which is weird because your place will be empty because you'll be outside.
In the middle of the night.
How middle are we talking here? How middle are we talking?
4 in the morning.
Okay. All right. Get that AC cranking.
Right.
Yep.
67 in Portsmouth tonight in Virginia Beach. 70 tonight in Norfolk. 67 in Williamsburg. 68 in Cape Charles. Upper 60s in eastern North Carolina tonight. So it will be mild. Tomorrow, hot. Feeling hot, hot, hot. Do you guys know that song? That's interesting.
No, I don't. What? Who sings
Feeling
it?
hot, hot, hot. I don't know the rest, but
Okay.
look it up after. It's
Okay.
really good. It's
We'll,
great.
we'll look it up. We'll dig into that afterwards.
Low
Yeah.
90s tomorrow, mix of sun and clouds, and then a chance for a thunderstorm or shower late Sunday afternoon and evening. A low chance.
Low chance.
But look at the temperatures after
mid
that.
to high 90s and nearly record breaking on Saturday, and then that little drop
80
there.
on Monday.
Yeah.
74 on Tuesday. Burr.
Yeah. Get your jackets out.
Get your jackets ready.
Get your skis ready. Snowboards. 74 degrees on Tuesday. A good 20 degrees lower than that temperature on Sunday.
Okay,
Hunter,
math.
tremendous forecast that you just did for us right there. Now, typically you guys have a better gauge on whether this stuff is interesting to the general public than I do. Do you want me to give more background on sneezing due to bright lights?
Oh, right, because I said earlier that some people, I think it's about 15% of people have like a miswiring in their face. So if you look at a bright light, it hits your other nerve that controls your sneezing.
Well,
Hunter,
yes, now you need to fact check.
Well, he's very much he's dead on it. The language here is a little bit more scientific, but he's got
I'm not a
all the
doctor.
right buzzwords though. Very much, Hunter. I'm impressed that you got all that down. It's actually called ACHOO syndrome. Isn't that cute? ACHOO is actually an acronym: autosomal compelling helio-ophthalmic outburst. The condition also known as photic sneeze reflex or sun sneezing. Typically, a sneeze is a response to nasal irritation, right? But a sun-driven sneeze originates in your brain rather than your nose, which is what you were alluding to with the miswiring. It activates a sneeze pathway in your brain that runs between nerve circuits around your eyes and nose. The circuits crosstalk with each other and convince your brain that a sneeze is needed even when it's not. You tricked yourself.
Yep.
I tricked myself during this stream. On the one hand, super impressive. On the other, really embarrassing. It strikes that initial exposure to the sun or bright light, and 18 to 35% of us have ACHOO syndrome.
Okay, so I was a little low on the percentage.
15% though, still very close off the top of your head. We got to give this man some kudos. Very strong background info on a Friday on ACHOO
Now,
syndrome.
how'd you know that?
He has it. He's
I-
afflicted with this.
No, I'm good.
That's how they test it at the doctor's office. They just shine
My
a light
For
right
You
in your
page.
face. Ah, your FYP.
TikTok University.
It's like I do Facebook more.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
a lot of insect stuff, and a lot of space, and sometimes the occasional medical video will show up.
Now, a tremendous segue, as always, Hunter. Speaking of insect stuff, we have a press conference coming up from Governor Greg Abbott in Texas to speak about an insect that has garnered a lot of coverage really around the country and even here in Virginia. It's that screwworm that might have major impacts on the beef industry, could raise some prices. So we're going to play that press conference in a little bit. Very prescient of you to know that. by bringing up insects for us, but we appreciate everything you did today in your forecast. I see that Nia Campbell has pulled up our live feed on Channel 2. What is this? What's going on here? Let's dive into it before we take our break, shall we? This is the International Space Station floating above Earth, right? I do believe that's Earth that you see, and then in the corner, that structure, a piece of the International Space Station. What all happened up there? Well, NASA has just reversed an evacuation order after assessing an air leak risk, okay? 2 leaks were detected, 1 was sealed, and now there's no longer an immediate threat to crew. There was a disagreement over repair methods, which led to a safe haven order. Astronauts have never evacuated the ISS in its 27-year-long history. But for a brief moment, it looked like that may happen. According to Reuters.com, it has since been reversed. 5 astronauts took shelter and prepared for evacuation for roughly 2 hours as Russia attempted to fix a crack on its portion of the orbital laboratory. So if you are in your car or in your house or your apartment and there's a crack, that's unfortunate and you want to get that fixed. If you're on the space station and there's a crack, well, all that stands between you and infinite nothingness is that small crack. So it could cause an evacuation for the first time in the 27-year history of the ISS. However, it has been reversed, and we'll bring any more updates if there are more to give. And that's a little bit of breaking news as we head to break. When we get back, we are going to discover a few more major stories from today, including that screwworm press conference coming up next. All right, welcome back to Live Impact News. As promised, we do have Greg Abbott speaking about the screwworm. Now, we were under the impression that this was more of a press conference style talk. However, the portion that we have here looks more like a round table. The how digestible the audio is can be in question at times during these round tables. So we want to listen in and see if we can gain any insight and information. If it's just not working, we will come out of it rather quickly. But let's give it a try out in Texas with Governor Greg Abbott.
Need to understand this can spread like wildfire very rapidly. And we all just need to comprehend the magnitude of the challenge. I know we got some folks here who are involved in the cattle industry, which obviously is important. But as everybody knows, most of the cattle, they could be monitored and dealt with in ways in which they've been dealt with in the past. And where this is taking place, there probably are just as many, maybe even more, wildlife running around in that area. They're not being monitored, whether it be deer or other types of animals that can easily be infected just as a cow can be infected. And through that means and other means, this can spread very rapidly. To say the obvious everybody here knows, and that is that we're in a season for it to spread. And it's going to be an extraordinarily challenging summer to get through this. I've never hoped for an early winter until now, where we're going to have to make our way through it. I will say this, and that is that one thing I assume everybody here knows. There's a proven and that is sterile flies. There's two things we got to do with regard to sterile flies. We need to accelerate the current importation of them from an increase over what is currently being done for more voluminous deployment. Second, we have to expedite the construction of the new sterile fly facility in Edinburgh. Third, I need to hear information today about what, if anything, is being done to be able to obtain from Mexico sterile flies that, if I understand the facts correctly, Mexico is close to being completed, maybe already completed, with their sterile fly facility, and I don't know if their intention is to share or if they need 100% of what they are creating for deployment in their region. Bottom line, we need information about that, and we need to see what we can do to try to improve that. And
All right, so that was brief, but we did get to hear, and we at least got to understand how serious they are taking this screwworm situation, right? We got a sense of what was described as the magnitude of the challenge early on by Governor Abbott. So that at least gives us a little bit more insight, if not in terms of pure information, into the gravity of this situation. Let's do a little bit more information for you here. Now then, the New World screwworm fly is threatening the $113 billion United States cattle industry for the first time in more than half a century, with that infestation from its flesh-eating larva confirmed in South Texas. Hence why you see the governor of Texas sort of leading the charge on some of these initial public statements and press conferences. Now, the infestation was discovered in a single 3-week-old calf in La Pryor, Texas, about 100 miles southwest of San Antonio and 50 miles from the United States-Mexico border. Federal and state officials had been working to keep the parasite from reaching Texas, home to $17 billion worth of the nation's cattle, making it the industry's #1 state of that $113 billion countrywide cattle industry. The deadly flies were detected in Mexico late in 2024 after years of being contained in Panama. The fly was an annual warm weather scourge of cattle ranchers from at least the 1930s through the 1960s until the United States eradicated the pest by breeding sterile male flies and dropping swarms of them from planes to mate with wild females. The USDA said the most recent case was the first in Texas since 1966. Here's what to know about the fly and the risk that it poses. The fly is unusual. That's what makes it such a threat. The New World screwworm fly in the Western Hemisphere and its Old World cousin in Africa and Asia are unusual among flies because their larvae eat live flesh and fluids instead of dead material, right? So the larvae eat live flesh instead of dead material, which means those living, breathing cattle in that multi-billion-dollar industry are at risk. Females lay their eggs in open wounds and mucous membranes after mating only once in their months-long lives. Any warm-blooded animal, including wildlife, pets, and occasionally even humans, can be infested. Why are livestock the ones being talked about here? Obviously, the $100 billion industry is part of it, but they're extra vulnerable because of how they are handled. Standard practices with cattle can break the skin, including shearing and dehorning. Even moving them in and out of corrals can cause scrapes and cuts. Birth would make a mother and calf vulnerable. That's according to University of Notre Dame Associate Research Professor of Biological Sciences Lee Haynes. So, a little bit of information. One, this is not new, right? 1930s to 1960s, it was already a major problem, but it is unusual due to the fact that larvae feed on live, what's the word that was used there? On live sort of flesh and fluids instead of dead material. So a little bit more information on this. Hopefully it's something that can be contained. Already we've seen well before this issue, beef prices, one of those hot button topics when it comes to the economy and affordability, as those prices have been elevated for some time already, especially with the advent of the war in Iran. Now, we are going to go ahead and take a quick break here. When we get back, we actually have a special guest joining us to talk about a unique trend when it comes to sun protection and whether it's legit or not. Coming up next. All right, welcome back to Live Impact News here on the 13 News Now app. We are very lucky to welcome a special guest onto the show today, a board-certified integrative dermatologist, Dr. Charlene St. Cyrin Lord, also the founder of Derm Hair Doc and the Skin Doctor's Pimple Patches, joins us now to talk about. We'll talk about a lot of different angles of skincare, but especially a bit of a viral trend that's been developing. And yes, Dr. St. Cyrin Lord, not only a dermatologist, but also an entrepreneur based on reading your resume here. I'm Connor, and it's wonderful to have you. Thanks for spending a little bit of time with us.
Hey, Connor. Happy Friday. Glad to be here with you. It's an honor.
Absolutely. You're on our wavelength. Happy Friday is right. We're so glad to be here and to have made it to the end of this week. I want to dig into this trend a little bit here. A popular, that's right. A popular online trend claims that watermelon can protect skin from sun damage when consumed or applied topically. I just want to start here straight up. Is this true? And how accurate is this if it falls somewhere in that gray area?
Okay, I'm glad you asked because I love being in the office and patients coming in and telling me the latest thing that's on social media or coming in and having me fix what they learned about on TikTok and they tried it home and I have to go in and fix it now. So guess what? There's some truth to the whole thing. So I'm not going to totally debunk it because studies have actually been done on this. So the thing about watermelon juice is that it has to be consumed orally, actually, to provide any photoprotective effect. And watermelon, like our famous friend, the tomato, is high in lycopene, right? Lycopene, we love it. We hear about it for prostate health and all these wonderful things. What's so good about it is that it's an antioxidant and it's super high in antioxidants. And what it does is it reduces superoxide radicals. And I know that sounds like gibberish right now, but what happens is when you go into the sun and you get some UV exposure, it interacts with your skin and it causes a lot of oxidation, right? And so now you have superoxide radicals. It doesn't even sound good, right? Radical superoxides, because they damage the cells, they cause DNA damage, and they set up the stage for basal cell cancer, squamous cell cancer, and melanoma. But when you ingest a lot of watermelon or tomatoes, it reduces the amount of redness that you'll get after being in the sun. That's pretty much what it does. It reduces the redness. And studies have proven it, but guess what? After having used large doses for 10 to 12 weeks. So you're not going to go have some watermelon juice and then go shake and bake outside. It's not going to work. You're going to sunburn people.
I was literally just thinking about how I'm going to go get a watermelon and some tomatoes after this to protect myself for this 90-degree weekend that we have coming. But I'm 11 weeks behind. I didn't even make it in. Now, You mentioned that it helps in reducing redness after the burn. Does it protect against that UV damage that we're all trying to be so aware of?
So it does. It does at some in some fashion because it is preventing those superoxides as an antioxidant. It's helping. I'm going to say it's going to complement your sunscreen, right? It's reducing some of the DNA damage, but it can't reduce all of it by itself. There's absolutely no way. Do not throw out your bottles of sunscreen, people. Absolutely don't do it. And don't go slathering on watermelon juice on yourself. You're just going to attract ants and maybe bees because you're going to smell so sweet. So I wouldn't say to throw away the sunscreen. Is it protective? Yes. Is it totally protective? No. And then we also haven't established a dose. So that's why I wouldn't do it.
Okay, so if I have a friend who walks up to the backyard this weekend and they're covered in ants, bees, and watermelon juice, I know that they've been online too much. That's what we can determine.
Yes, that's the social media effect, and they've been online too much. Say, you know what, friend, go wash that off. I've got some great zinc oxide or titanium dioxide for you. That's awesome. Slather it on.
Slather it on. That is what we've been encouraging people to do all week, but not the watermelon juice, that sunscreen, that zinc. Now, that does beg the question, however. It seems like watermelons and tomatoes do at least have beneficial components that are good for the skin, specifically antioxidants. I'm wondering, can you give us a rundown of the best foods that you can consume for overall skin health?
For overall skin health, that's wonderful. Number one, I love probiotics. Got to do it. That gut health is so important. I want us to stop thinking about our skin and our internal organs as totally different. The skin is the largest organ on the body. Sorry, GI docs. We know it's the skin, right? It's not the intestines. So the skin is the largest organ on your body, and it covers everything. So it's protective, right? And so you need your gut to be healthy to reduce inflammation in the skin. And so you're going to want to do the probiotics. The other thing is you got to have your foods that are rich in calcium, because calcium is wonderful for your hair, your skin, and your nails, and you need your vitamin D. The other thing, because that low vitamin D can cause rashes that mimic psoriasis. So people might think they have psoriasis and then they find out their vitamin D is so depleted and they need to replenish it. You also want that wonderful spinach. You need that vitamin K. You need that iron. You need your antioxidants, your A, C's, and E's, and that's going to be in your green stuff. Your C's are going to be in your citrus fruits. Another thing, please don't apply anything with citrus on your body and then go out into the sun. You're going to get a sunburn. It's something that we call phytophotodermatitis. You put on that juicy like lemon grass or whatever citrus, orange something on your skin. You go out into the sun in your convertible, you're going to burn. Other foods that are great for you and great for your skin, I say definitely anything, the berries, because the berries are rich in antioxidants, right? So they're going to help prevent all that superoxide in your skin that causes aging and cell death. So when the cells die, they're going to age and they're not going to be that good. The other thing is the resveratrol in the darkly pigmented grapes, berries, and all those things. And guess what? In red wine as well. Yes, it's anti-aging, but just in moderation, okay? Because too much alcohol then leads to inflammation. So we want to do everything in moderation.
Wow, what a way to end it. That's great. Just a little bit of red wine is helpful at times. Everything in moderation, of course. Now, you mentioned something that actually piqued my interest and brought me back very, very many years ago when I was told that lemon juice in the hair can help lighten the hair color. Is that something that is A, true, and B, advised in any way?
So it can happen and lead to nice little bleaching effects. And I know why we did that, because it would actually bleach the hair, but then also you don't want that acid on your hair and your actual hair shaft because it will cause damage. So that's like a very inexpensive and I would say not so wise way to do it. We did a lot of things when we were younger that we wouldn't necessarily recommend anybody does now. The other thing is, remember, chlorine does the same thing. It bleaches your hair, but do I want you to use chlorine in your hair all the time? No, I want you to wash it out when you get out of the pool, because it can have those bleaching and lightening effects as well. Now, if you get some of that citrus on your scalp, get ready for a scalp burn. You got to remember that your scalp is skin. If your skin can sunburn, so can your scalp. I often see sunburns in the hair parts when people go to the Caribbean and get their hair braided. And so I'm like, you have to wear a hat, or if you wore sunscreen, or sometimes you use products that have like natural UV protectants. That's popular now. Or also some things that take the metals out of your hair, like metal chelators. And I'm not going to lie, this Derm Hair Doc hair mask, that's the reason it was formulated as well, because it's got natural metal chelators in there to get the chlorine out, get the hard water out, so you don't damage your hair and your scalp. So I would still say, if your scalp is going to be, okay, let's say the gentlemen who have a little less coverage, as I call it, I say, gentlemen, you have less shade now. So if you're not going to wear sunscreen on your scalp, I'm going to need you to wear a hat. So I'm going to leave it at that. How about that?
Okay, good, very good. And continuing to look into some of the preconceived notions about all of this, I know that for a lot of that online content where they're talking about, the watermelon as a substitute, and they're talking about different ways that they can protect their skin, I have heard that some of the sort of the impetus of that is that people maybe are concerned about the ingredients in sunscreen. They're worried about putting that on their skin all the time. Could there be unintended consequences from that? What is your answer to people with that concern?
I agree totally 100%. And if you follow the EWG, that's going to be a very big concern. So as part of being an integrative dermatologist, I always do try to give some naturals to supplement what I do. I can't say that it's going to take the place of it. But when you're concerned about sunscreen, zinc oxide and titanium dioxide are going to be your safest. And why I say that is because, you see the little person there, you can use it on your little people. You're not worried about chemicals, right? You don't want parabens and all that stuff that are actually hormone disruptors. So that's another thing. So you always want to find stuff that's like paraben free if you can find it, because when you have breast cancer survivors, they don't need all that extra estrogen. Nobody wants extra estrogen, not the boys, not women either. So the physical blockers, sunscreens, as I call them, your zinc oxide, titanium dioxide, what happens when you get the sun, it just bounces off. It bounces off of you. That's why the lifeguards had the white paste on the nose, because the nose sticks out. It's the first place to get burned. The ears get burned. The forehead gets burned. Anything that sticks out. So if you block the sun, it's wonderful, but they don't blend in as well. Your chemical blockers, which are your like homosalates and oxybenzones. Oxybenzones, one of the ones that people absolutely don't want anymore. But the thing about them, and there are so many more chemicals I could go on, is they actually have to be absorbed in your skin. And once they're absorbed, then they block the sun. Well, the thing about it is some people are sensitive to that. And they might say, you know what, doc, every sunscreen I use breaks me out. I say, well, then you're a titanium dioxide and zinc oxide person. And so the chemical ones blend in better, but sometimes have a lot of chemicals that we don't want. The physical ones, they're not as bad as they used to be when the lifeguards had the white paste. Now they're micronized. They're made with a little shimmer. They're even more cosmetically pleasing. And ladies, your makeup is not enough. Anybody who's wearing makeup, gentlemen who wear makeup, your makeup is not enough to protect you from the sun. That SPF 15 does not stand a chance with this weekend's weather.
Hi, my name is Naya. I did want to hop in right quick and ask a question since you were talking about the different types. So say if I was going to the grocery store tonight to buy some sunscreen for this weekend, is there a certain level that's better, like between 30 to 100? And is it skin tone, like does your skin complexion matter?
Yes, yes, and yes. Okay, so if you're going out to buy sunscreen, SPF 15 was a very European thing, and it worked for them, and it was awesome. And you got to remember the EU bans a lot of stuff that the US does not ban. So their stuff tends to be a little safer because it's not going to even make it to the market shelf or your grocery store shelf, right? So we have to be smarter shoppers when we shop. Now, 15, not enough. I tend to tell my patients fall and winter, SPF 30. Spring and summer, SPF 50. If you're going to the Caribbean or somewhere like that, you could do 50 or 70. But the point is that you reapply every 2 hours. That's the most important. We put on the sunscreen, we go on a catamaran ride, we go on the beach, or we go play basketball shirtless. We do all those things, and we don't reapply. And that's when we get in trouble because the sun, the UV rays actually degrade your sunscreen. And guys, SPF 100 doesn't give you twice the protection of SPF 50. It does not work that way. SPF 50 will give you about 98% protection from UV rays, whereas SPF 100 only give you 99%. You're paying all that extra money for only 1% extra. So 100% does not equal twice the effect of 50%. Skin tone, it matters. I am of color, and some sunscreens leave me looking like Casper the Friendly Ghost. I do not want to walk out looking like that. Everybody understands because I'm a dermatologist, but I will also be the one on the beach slathering on my SPF 50 every 2 hours. So I tend to like a little more cosmetic one. I've tried all of them. So there are clear liquid ones, like liquid sunscreens. I know Neutrogena has a nice one. Cetaphil has a nice one. Those go in well. CeraVe just came up with an amazing one that actually left my skin a little shimmery. I loved it. No white cast. And it's mineral. It's got a little one. It's got oxysalate. Oxysalate is not bad. What it does is stabilize the other ones, and it's considered kind of safe by the EWG. And this is the little one. I had a nice little sample because I was playing with it earlier and just showing how it really leaves your skin shimmery. But I've got some of all of them in here. You've got your this one. You've got your La Roche-Posay. You've got a plethora of sunscreen to choose from. And I say, if your skin is sensitive, go for the physical blockers. Oh, and one more test. I'm going to do this real quick in front of you. For anyone with skin of color or darkly pigmented or tan skin, the trick with sunscreen is that you put a little on, work it in. So you see no blue cast, right? If you're trying to slather and do this, it's Casper time. We're going to look like ghosts.
Okay, good to know. So a little concentrated area, work it into that concentrated area, and then make moves rather than trying to get the whole space all at one time. As you said, the skin, it's an expansive organ. You can't get it all at one time, but you want to make sure you have that full coverage. Well, this has been great. I mean, this has been a ton of insight and information. I can't tell you how much we appreciate it. Is there anything else that you want to add, Dr. St. Cyrin Lord, before we let you go?
So I just want to say, guys, it's important because there is no safe tan. I always tell people, look, you'll wear sunscreen and you'll still tan, but you won't shake and bake. You won't come back. So if you come back looking like a lobster, it's going to be a coming to Jesus visit. But there's no safe tan because every tan can somehow create sun damage. And I want to say for all the pool goers and the beach goers and everything, don't beach hair, don't care. Take care of your hair. So I'm always going to talk about this amazing all natural Derm Hair Doc hair mask. And when I say it's all natural, it's because there's nothing toxic in it. I made it with all my heart and 20 years worth of experience in clinical research. Go out there. It's on our favorite place, Amazon, and also online at dermhairdoc.com. Have a safe, wonderful summer, guys. Be responsible in the sun. You don't want to come back and have me doing biopsies on you all day in October.
No, definitely great advice from Dr. Charlene St. Cyrin Lord all the way through. Even better information and even better suggestions to maybe indulge in some red wine if that is something that you enjoy that could add a little bit of extra help. Just a tiny amount. We appreciate every single bit of that. We really will hope to maybe catch up with you again in the future. This is something that we like to keep tabs on. We are sure that there will be more viral trends in regards to this. And so hopefully we can catch up again, Dr. St. Cyrin Lord. It's been a real pleasure having you.
I love that, Connor. You have a wonderful weekend, okay? Responsibly.
Absolutely. You too, responsibly,
Thank
of
you.
course, and always. Okay, what a wonderful privilege here to get to talk to not only a dermatologist, but also an entrepreneur, Dr. Charlene St. Cyrin Lord, giving us a lot of good information there. And, you know, these trends are constantly popping up online. I can't tell you how often I will speak to someone anecdotally and they'll tell me about something that they're doing now or something that they heard is healthy or good for you. And I ask where they learned about that. And they say, oh, I saw it on social media. Some of those things could be true. As you heard, there are some benefits to eating watermelon and what it can do for your skin, but there's often a lot of context that's needed to really clarify and provide insight to whatever you may see out there on the internet. And so we try to provide some of that today, and I don't think anyone has ever done it better than Dr. Charlene St. Cyrin Lord right there. Okay, let's take another break here on Live Impact News. When we come back, we were trying to get that press conference for you about the screwworm situation in Texas, and what we got was more of a roundtable. Well, that's because it was a two-part event. The press conference has actually started. We're looking at Greg Abbott right now as we speak on our live board. I would say it's very likely we head out to that after this. So stay with us, and we'll get more information on that for you coming up next. All right, back here on Live Impact News. Let's head out to Texas. We talked about this quite a bit earlier. The New World screwworm fly threatening the $100 billion+ cattle industry here in the United States, as it's been found in Texas, and it was a problem from the 30s to the 60s. We haven't seen it in Texas since 1966. Oh no, Naya. Oh, I thought that it looks like that press conference may have just ended. Could you bring it up just to show people that we're not crazy? Okay, we were having such a good time during our interview that it kind of went a little long, and that press conference has just ended. Boy, we just had no luck with that press conference today, did we, Naya? We could not get a handle on that thing. All right, well, we've got plenty more to cover. Do not worry about it. There are still lots of stories to get into here while we sort of recover from the fact that we just could not get to that New World screwworm press conference. But we did provide plenty of information about that. We got to hear the roundtable a little bit. Now, there's a couple things we can do here. We've been showing press conferences from World Cup host cities around the country throughout the week as they prepare for all the necessary transportation, safety, and health precautions that come with hosting an event like that. So I'm wondering if maybe we go to today's version in Massachusetts, standing in what I do believe is Gillette Stadium in Foxborough, Massachusetts, the home of the New England Patriots that will be hosting World Cup games this year. Naya, what do you think? We'll spend a little bit of time. We've done quite a few of these. So we're going to spend a little bit of time listening in. You know, everybody's excited about the World Cup coming in June, and there are so many different angles through which to cover it, including these American cities, these North American cities, taking on not only the privilege but the massive burden of hosting an event like this. So let's continue to indulge. We only get one of these once every 4 years. Let's listen in Massachusetts, and then we'll go to some of our other major stories here going forward.
Public health professionals standing alongside me, it began years ago. While fans will see excitement on the pitch, what they won't see is the years of planning, coordination, and preparation that have brought us to this moment. Since Boston was selected as a host city, state, local, federal, regional, and private sector partners have been working together to prepare. What you see today is the result of thousands of hours of planning, coordination, training, and exercises, all designed to ensure a safe and successful tournament for everyone. At MEMA, our role has been to bring partners together, coordinate planning efforts, and ensure that every agency understands not only their own responsibilities, but how those responsibilities intersect and how they connect across the broader mission. Public safety for an event of this scale is truly a team effort. This week, public safety agencies moved from preparation to operations. We began daily operational meetings to discuss critical updates and situational awareness. Next week, MEMA will also begin daily calls with host cities and states across the country to maintain national-level situational awareness throughout the tournament. On match days, the State Emergency Operations Center in Framingham will serve as the Unified Coordination Center, the UCC, where more than 40 representatives from 15 agencies across the region will come together with additional partners supporting virtually. The UCC agencies will share information in real time, make decisions, and coordinate resources. MEMA will also deploy a mobile emergency operations center to the stadium and will have MEMA staff and leadership embedded at the Boston Special Event Coordination Center and Boston Stadium Joint Operations Center to support local response to any incident that may occur. Massachusetts has built one of the most comprehensive and effective special event planning programs in the country. More than 70 organizations have participated in a structured planning process, specialized planning groups, workshops, seminars, tabletop exercises, functional exercises, and operational rehearsals. Together, we have planned for everything from transportation disruptions and severe weather to public health incidents, cybersecurity threats, crowd management challenges, and other complex scenarios. The result is a coordinated public safety framework that has been tested, refined, and strengthened through repeated exercises and real-world experience. Massachusetts has long been recognized as having a national model for planning and coordinating public safety operations for large-scale special events. We have successfully planned for and managed some of the nation's most significant public events, including the Boston Marathon, major championships, and annual celebrations across the state. The World Cup is larger in scale, but it builds on the same principles that have guided our success for years. Strong partnerships, transparency and clear communication, detailed planning, and a commitment to continuous improvement. As we enter the final week before kickoff, our message is simple. Massachusetts is match ready. While much of this work happens behind the scenes, it is among the most important work that we do. Success for us means that fans can focus on the excitement of the matches, the energy of the crowds, and the experience of being part of an historic event, knowing that an extraordinary team of public safety professionals is working every day to keep them safe. To all of our partners, thank you for your dedication, expertise, and commitment. Our state of readiness today is the product of your hard work and countless hours of preparation. Now I would like to introduce Massachusetts Public Safety and Security Secretary, Gina Kwan.
Thank you, Don. And good morning. Thank you all for being here. I'm Gina Kwan, the Secretary of Public Safety and Security. As Massachusetts prepares to welcome the world for the 2026 World Cup, our priority is clear: to support a safe, healthy, welcoming, and well-coordinated experience for fans, visitors, residents, workers, businesses, athletes, and communities across the region. This is one of the largest, most complex international events our Commonwealth has ever helped prepare for. 7 matches will be played here at Boston Stadium in Foxborough. The FIFA Fan Festival will bring people together in Boston, and World Cup-related activities will touch communities, transportation systems, businesses, hotels, public spaces, and partner jurisdictions across Massachusetts and Rhode Island. An undertaking of this magnitude requires more than one agency, one city, or one discipline. It requires the strength of true partnership. For nearly 2 years, local, state, federal, regional, public safety, public health, emergency management, transportation, venue, event, and private sector partners have been planning together. That work includes 14 public safety and security planning groups focused on mission areas such as emergency management, communications, intelligence sharing, transportation security, public information, health and medical services, fan festival planning, command and coordination, team movements, and stadium operations. That structure matters. It means partners are sharing information, testing plans, identifying risks, coordinating resources, and preparing for both routine operations and complex scenarios that may require rapid and unified action. As part of that readiness work, and at the request of the Foxborough Police Department, Massachusetts is also preparing to activate up to 85 Massachusetts National Guard personnel to support local law enforcement during the World Cup operational period. This limited activation is a familiar support role for the Guard, who routinely support major events, including the Boston Marathon and 4th of July festivities, and it reflects the careful planning underway to support our local partners, strengthen coordination, and meet the extended operational demands of an event of this scale. I want to express my deep appreciation to the many partners represented here today: MEMA, the State Police, the FBI, the Town of Foxborough, the City of Boston, the Department of Public Health, Boston 26, Boston Stadium, and the Craft Sports and Entertainment Group, and the many agencies and organizations working behind the scenes. I also want to recognize the public information professionals across local, state, federal, regional, public safety, public health, emergency management, transportation, venue, event, and community partners who have helped develop the shared guidance we are highlighting today. This work reflects a simple but powerful message. One message, many messengers. Today's briefing is about readiness, but it is also about public partnership. The public has an important role to play in helping us deliver a safe, healthy, and successful World Cup. Over the next several days and throughout the tournament, our partners will be sharing practical guidance on public safety, public health, transportation, venue readiness, emergency alerts, scams, suspicious activity reporting, and other important topics. My request to the public is simple. Please follow that guidance. Use official resources. Plan ahead. Stay aware. Listen to the instructions of public safety officials, public health professionals, event staff, and venue personnel. These messages are designed to help everyone: fans, visitors, residents, workers, businesses, and communities navigate this moment safely and confidently. And to our partners across government, public safety, public health, transportation, emergency management, hospitality, business, community organizations, and the private sector, we are asking for your help as trusted messengers. Please share and amplify this guidance through your own channels, networks, and communities. The strength of this effort depends not only on the plans we build, but on our ability to deliver clear, consistent, accessible information to the people who need it. As part of that work, our teams have collaborated on a series of PSAs designed to educate residents and visitors alike. Several of the leaders you see here today dedicated time to this project, and we're grateful to them and their teams for these efforts. At this time, we're proud to share two PSAs you'll see over the course of the next 6 weeks. They focus on a variety of public safety topics like leave fireworks to the professionals, calling 911 for emergency assistance, and other reminders to prepare for this exciting time. I'd like to direct your attention to the screens at this time.
We want you to know before you go. Call 911 if you have a medical emergency, a fire, or there is a crime in progress, or there is an immediate threat to your safety. Do not call 911 for general questions, directions, transportation updates, or any non-urgent issues. If you call 911 and don't speak English, an interpreter will be connected to the call. Tell the dispatcher what the emergency is, provide your exact location and nearby landmarks, and stay on the line until the dispatcher tells you it is okay to hang up. If you are calling 911 from an international phone, connections may take longer to reach or may require a second attempt. We want you to stay match ready, Massachusetts.
Massachusetts is ready to welcome the world, and we want everyone to celebrate safely. Each year in the United States, fireworks and other pyrotechnics cause over 30,000 fires, injuries, and even deaths. That's why they are illegal for consumer use in Massachusetts. Police will seize fireworks, and you could face a fine, even if they're bought legally out of state. Don't risk a fire, traumatic injury, or a day in court. Leave fireworks to the professionals, and let's celebrate safely.
Through the Match Ready Massachusetts, we have shared a framework, a shared message, and a shared responsibility. One message, many messengers.
Okay, Match Ready Massachusetts. As you see, yet another city preparing for that World Cup this summer. It starts on June 11th, and then games here in the United States, I do believe on June 12th, the very next day. I can even check on that real quick. And then, of course, those United States games are going to be massive. United States playing in the World Cup right here in North America, in the U.S. And I am pulling up that schedule for you guys here because Friday, June 12th, United States versus Paraguay. That'll be in Inglewood, California. Thursday, June 11th, Mexico, South Africa in Mexico City. That's the opener. When do we get a game in Foxborough, Massachusetts? Let's go ahead and check right now. June 13th, Saturday, Haiti versus Scotland, Gillette Stadium, Foxborough, Massachusetts, 9 p.m. That group of people you saw on your screen, I'm sure, eagerly anticipating that particular day. Okay, let's go ahead and reset here. We're going to take a commercial break. When we get back, Brendan Banfield sentenced today, the Virginia man who was having an affair with the family's Brazilian au pair and then cooked up an alleged scheme through which to kill his wife and create a fall guy. In the end, the wife and the fall guy both die, and Brendan Banfield is found guilty of murder of those two individuals. His sentencing was today. Let's go ahead and take a break. When we get back, we'll listen into that sentence. All right, welcome back to Live Impact News. Let's go out to that Brendan Banfield sentencing that we heard just a little bit before we came on stream today. Again, this is a Virginia man. This is a Virginia courtroom having an affair with the family's Brazilian au pair, and ultimately a plan was created, allegedly by himself, involving the au pair, to lure a man to the home in order to frame that man for the murder of Banfield's wife, Christine Banfield. In the end, Christine Banfield, and the man who was lured to the home, Joseph Ryan, were both killed, and Banfield has been found guilty for their murders, and now his sentencing that we heard earlier today. It begins with Banfield giving, we caught this in about the middle of a statement he gave, then you'll hear from the judge and get that sentencing, then we'll hear from lawyers outside the courtroom afterwards in what has largely become known as the au pair case, or the au pair trial, the au pair affair. Very nice, Nia Campbell. That is more so the common vernacular that people have kind of learned about this case, to identify this case. Obviously, it's something that caught national headlines. So the au pair affair, the conclusion of that case coming up now. Let's listen in.
But I am not responsible for her death. This is not a knife that I ever held in my hand, and I never stabbed her. Thank you.
All right. Mr. Banfield, a jury of your peers, after hearing all the evidence, has found you guilty of count 1 of the indictment, 2024-666, aggravated murder of 2 people in the same act or transaction. They found you guilty of count 4 of 2024-666, aggravated murder of 2 people within a 3-year period, count 5 of 2024-666, use of a firearm in the commission of a felony, and count 1 of 2024-873, child endangerment. In accordance with Virginia law, although you have been found guilty of 2 counts of aggravated murder, the court can only sentence you on 1 count of aggravated murder, which will be count 1 of 2024-666. The statute requires a sentence of life imprisonment on this count, which is now the highest penalty one can receive in the Commonwealth of Virginia. This exact statute was our capital murder statute until Virginia abolished capital punishment in 2021. You should understand you were found guilty of crimes that 5 short years ago would have carried a sentence of death. That reflects the severity of your crimes and your actions. Life in prison is a punishment reserved for a very small number of individuals. Those whom the community has determined should never walk free again. It is a harsh sentence, but in this case, it is a justified one. In the 18 years I've been on the bench, I have seen hundreds of defendants appear before me, and I have had the arduous task of sentencing these individuals. In the vast majority of these cases, people made mistakes, were struggling with substance use disorders, or acting in anger, choosing violence in a moment that changed everything. They were not inherently bad people, but they made terrible decisions and suffered the consequences. Sentencing in those cases is difficult. It weighs on me, often long after the hearing is over. Only 2 times prior to today have I encountered something different in my courtroom. 2 individuals that carried no remorse, calculated, and planned their violent crimes and left many victims and devastation in their path. As I listen to the evidence in this case and listen to your testimony, it is apparent that I am once again looking at that same kind of evil. The disregard of the life of your wife, someone you supposedly loved, is almost unfathomable. Scheming for months a master plan involving so many moving parts, including deception and manipulation, luring a completely innocent man into your deadly trap, continuing on after the murders without a care, and not once thinking of the impact on Christine's daughter, the unspoken tragic victim of your behavior. You did not just take her mother from her, you placed her in the middle of the horror you created. She is young now, but one day she will understand your true self, and she will understand what you took from her, which is everything. The loss of her mother, who will never be a part of her life as she grows, the loss of her family and the security she lived under. All of this is lost based on your calculated and selfish behavior. It is impossible to comprehend what Joseph Ryan experienced, seeing you enter the room, being shot in the head, blinded, hearing you instruct the co-defendant to shoot him again. And Christine, to imagine her final thoughts as she initially thought you were there to save her from what she thought was a brutal attack, and then to see you over her stabbing her again and again with a knife in her neck, her final realization that this was all you're doing, and in her final moments thinking of her daughter. The sentence I impose today reflects not only the law, but the judgment of the community. The jury did not find you credible on the stand. To testify as you did shows the court that you still think that you are the smartest person in the room. One would hope that someday you will become tortured by what you have done to Christine, Joe, Christine's daughter, and their families, but nothing I have seen suggests that you will. The level of cruelty, calculation, and inhumanity in this case reflects something far deeper than anger or impulse. It reflects evil, which is why I carry no burden and find no hesitation in sentencing you to life. On count 1 of 2024-666 aggravated murder, I sentence you to life in the penitentiary for the rest of your natural life without the possibility of parole, without good conduct allowances, or any earned sentence credits or conditional release. On count 5 of 2024-666, use of a firearm in the commission of a felony, I sentence you to 3 years in the penitentiary, which is a mandatory term and cannot be suspended. Since it is required by statute, an additional 6 months is ordered and suspended for post-release probation, which is a nullity in this case, but is required to be part of the sentence. On count 1 of 2024-873, child endangerment, I sentence you to 5 years in the penitentiary. Since it is required by statute, an additional 6 months is ordered and suspended for post-release probation, which is again a nullity in this case, but is required to be part of the sentence. Each of these sentences are consecutive, that is one after the other. And since you've been convicted of a felony in Virginia, a sample of your DNA will be taken and submitted to the Virginia State Police database. That is the sentence of the court. Are there any questions, Mr. Carroll? Any questions?
No, Your Honor, but the Commonwealth does have one additional request, if I may.
Yes, ma'am.
The Commonwealth is asking that a condition of the sentence be that the defendant have no contact with his daughter, Valerie. This is at the request of her guardian ad litem, her therapist, and her counsel.
I understand, but I'm not doing any probation, so how can I do a no contact order?
Judge, I think with the 6 months of post-release, same action, even though there is no likelihood of those 6 months ever being imposed, they are suspended on the condition as required by statute. This condition would operate similarly.
But that would only work for those sentences, correct?
That is correct.
I mean, I can't order him no contact if I'm giving him life in prison.
Understood, Judge. I'm making the request.
All right, I just
Thank you.
deny that request. Thank you. All right, Mr. Banfield, you have the right to appeal a decision of this court. You must note your appeal within 30 days of the final order of this case. It is my understanding that Mr. Carroll will not represent you on appeal. Is that correct, Mr. Carroll? All right. So, sir, Mr. Banfield, do you wish to hire your own attorney or have the court appoint you an attorney?
Hasn't been decided.
I'll go ahead and appoint an attorney for you now. If later on you decide to hire your own attorney, you can do that. Okay, sir?
Sure.
All right. Since Mr. Carroll told me of his intentions in advance, my clerk was able to find an appellate court-appointed attorney who is willing and able to take your case. So the court appoints Brandon Sloan as your appellate attorney. The court ordered transcripts of the trial back in May, so those should be available now for your attorney to review. So there should be no delay in your appeal, okay? Mr. Sloan, I'm sure we'll come see you in the next few days. All right, sir?
Yes.
All right. Is there anything further in this matter? All right. You're a man of the custody of the sheriff.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Ms. Gill, I'm going to take a 10-minute recess, and I'll come back and finish the rest of the sentencing docket, okay? All right. Anything further, Ms. Sands? No? All right. The court will be in recess.
That we wanted to ask, that we wanted to at least ask the judge for something that would help give them closure. We're not surprised by the judge's ruling, but we felt that it was only right to ask.
And was that what you were asking for? That he not write
Yes.
at any point, now or yeah.
Yes, I mean I think the family wants Brenda's daughter to be able to grow up as normally as possible. Obviously, this is an abnormal situation, but she's a young girl who has her whole life ahead of her, and she has people that are around her that care about her, and they just want to give her the best opportunity to heal and continue on with her life.
Is she still living with his family, though?
Well, I don't want to get too much into the. I don't want to get too much into the custody battle. I'd like to keep it to the criminal charge because, quite frankly, I don't want to step into something, a family drama that could be painful, particularly when the person at issue is, quite frankly, a little girl.
Can you speak to the next step? Sounds like he's going to appeal.
Of course. We're not surprised that he would appeal. As a matter of fact, pretty much any case like this has an appeal. What'll happen is he has his time to appeal. Appellate counsel was assigned, and the Attorney General's office will be handling criminal appeals as per Virginia code. But quite frankly, you all saw the case. You all saw the evidence. We feel confident that that the police did a wonderful investigation, that we put forward a very, very strong case. We already heard yesterday the defense make these arguments to overturn the conviction. They were rejected roundly by the judge, and we expect to prevail at appeal as well.
Are there sometimes disputes within an investigation of what the evidence actually shows and proves? So is this not uncommon?
Well, to be honest, I think in this case, a lot of that was really blown out of proportion. I think what you have typically, as somebody who obviously has been involved in a lot of investigations, is you start wide, and as you get more things, you're testing theories, right? So essentially it is not that there were disagreements, it's just that as you get forward, as more doors close, you hone in. But the last thing that anybody wants a police department to do or prosecutors to do is immediately hone in on one theory before all the evidence is in, right? So I think what happened in this case is normal investigatory procedure tried to get blown out of proportion as part of a defense strategy, which, fair play to them. When you're a defense attorney and you're on trial, you're doing everything that you can for your client, who is the defendant. But what we saw here is what you would see in any big high-profile case.
Thank you.
Yeah.
If I may ask
Yeah.
an unrelated question, just your response to the congressional letter being sent to your office.
Yeah, it is. I got to tell you, it is amazing to me that Congress doesn't have anything better to do than harass the people in charge of the justice system of the country's safest large jurisdiction, bar none. And quite frankly, let's be honest, this isn't even about my office or Fairfax County. This committee, if you've taken a look at what they've done over the last month or so, they have sent these letters and tried to harass the leaders of justice systems all around cities and counties that are led by Democrats. In my view, it's because there's a election coming up in a couple months, and Republicans on that congressional committee, they think that they're going to save their majority by trying to scare up panic about immigrants and about crime. But I will tell you this: if the members of that committee, the House Judiciary Committee, if the Republican members of that committee actually cared about public safety, they would let local prosecutors, local police, local sheriffs, local judges do their job and not have to waste time responding to political nonsense from D.C. That's what I think of that letter. Anything else? All right, thank you all for being here. I really appreciate it.
Okay, both the sentencing in that trial there, you heard the judge really taking very little mercy in her comments to Brendan Banfield, and word from lawyers after that sentencing was handed down and carried out. So a saga that has been long, drawn out, and drawn plenty of eyeballs, and had multiple moments of sort of blame being placed on the au pair and then switched over to Banfield, and the au pair's role in that blame being switched to Banfield, or at least in Banfield being sort of fully and totally sort of brought to center stage as the driving force behind these crimes. It's been quite the story here in Fairfax, Virginia, and it appears to have reached its conclusion, though, for the families of Christine Banfield, Joseph Ryan, and of course the child of Christine and Brendan Banfield. You feel for them, as we may all move on here, but it is unlikely that they will be able to so easily. So that is the conclusion of the au pair affair. Now, let's move forward here on Live Impact News. We've got plenty more to cover. We're going to take a live look at a protest happening when we return, along with some other press conferences that we want to get to, other information here locally, and perhaps, if we have time, a finals preview at the end. All coming up on Live Impact News. All right, welcome back to Live Impact News. We're going to show a live look at Albania right now. We're going international, but it ties back to the United States. These, according to our ABC feed here, the information that we get kind of telling us about our live views. This is Tirana, Albania. Tirana is the capital of Albania, and these are protests against plans for a Trump family resort. And we've seen close-up views like this and wide views. That is quite the protest there. The flags, the signs, and the crowds. It is a rather sizable protest happening today in Tirana, Albania, again, against plans for a Trump family resort. What are the details amongst those plans? Let's take a little closer look here. This is coming from NPR.org reporting. A massive coastal development project linked to Jared Kushner, of course, the son-in-law of United States President Trump, is facing growing resistance from protesters in Albania, which you see on your screen here. The government says the development on the Adriatic coast would be transformational to the former communist nation as it seeks to enter the high-end tourism market and pushes for European Union membership. Again, that's the Albanian government and their goals when it comes to this. However, the venture spans an abandoned island and a nearby stretch of seafront on the southern coast of Albania, and it's drawn opposition from environmental campaigners and critics of the longtime Prime Minister, Edi Rama. The luxury project has two components: a coastal development in the Narta Lagoon area, which is a wildlife preserve, and a smaller resort on the nearby uninhabited island of Sazan, a communist-era military base. The planned development of hotels, apartments, villas, and a marina is linked to Kushner and, of course, Donald Trump's daughter, Ivanka Trump, who is Jared Kushner's partner. In an interview this week with a United States podcaster, Ivanka Trump said they discovered the site by accident. Quote, from Ivanka Trump, "We were on a friend's boat and we stopped by for a swim. Effectively, that's how we found it. We swam to the island. We went on a hike barefoot all the way up to the top, and we were just captivated." An investment firm linked to Kushner has been granted special investor status by Albanian authorities. Now, this is 280 miles of coast that remain largely underdeveloped during decades of harsh communist rule in Albania. Protest groups fear the sections of that pristine coastline could be snapped up by powerful investors. Public anger grew after video showed an activist being dragged by a private security guard while demonstrating at the site. The development is planned within a nature reserve and one of Albania's most valuable biodiversity areas, a key stopover for migratory birds along the Adriatic coast. There's that wide view so you can get a little bit more of a sense. Again, this is the capital of Albania. You can get at least some sense of the scope of this protest. That is a crowded street with, again, a number of signs, flags, and of course protesters in Albania there. The development, again, on a nature reserve. At times, protesters have carried cardboard cutouts of pink flamingos, one of the protected migratory bird series, at rallies in the capital. This has been happening since late May. Excavators and other heavy machinery have entered the area, opening access routes, digging into the sand, clearing land among pine trees, and installing fencing. Environmental groups from Albania and elsewhere in Europe have condemned the work. One prominent local group charged that long-protected habitats are being irreversibly destroyed. Now, Albania's state anti-corruption agency has confirmed that it opened an investigation related to the project, but we have no further details. The government says the land earmarked for the project is privately owned, but there are competing claims questioning the privatization. It's a common type of legal dispute in a venture like this. The Prime Minister has committed to the venture, saying it would align with Albania's ambition to become a major global tourism destination. So quite a bit of layers here. And excuse me, I feel a sneeze coming on. This is embarrassing here. She's trying to hold back the smile. Okay, we're good. I suppressed the sneeze. I'm so sorry for that happening in the midst of this read. Okay, is there any precedent for this? The demise of a similar project in Serbia offers a cautionary tale. Again, according to NPR, in November, Serbia's parliament passed a special law to enable the building of a luxury complex in their capital, also financed by an investment company linked to Jared Kushner. The following month, Serbia's prosecutor for organized crime charged 4 people, including a government minister, with abuse of office and falsifying documents to pave the way for the development. Kushner later withdrew from the planned multi-million-dollar investment that would have replaced a military complex and a designated heritage zone. So a little bit of precedent there, at least in Serbia. But this situation in Albania, you see it grows dark there in Albania, and yet those protesters stand strong in the street. At least this group is, and a sizable group it is, opposed to the plans for a resort that is linked to Jared Kushner and Ivanka Trump being built in Albania. The Albanian Prime Minister, based on this NPR reporting, is on board, but appears as though at least a portion of the population certainly is not. Again, that is a steadfast and sizable protest that we are seeing live in Albania right now. And, you know, the gathering of a group of people like that can be a beautiful sight at times. The unity involved, the community involved, and you see just, again, those flags certainly create an aesthetic as nighttime falls and the lights turn on. You still see the green space, the nature, even within the Capitol there. And they are this group of protesters attempting to protect what they see as a critical wildlife area from that resort being built by Jared Kushner, Ivanka Trump, an investment firm they're connected to. I'm sure this is a story that we will revisit as time goes on. For now, however, we wanted to provide a look at those protests happening in Albania. Okay, we're going to take a break here. When we get back, we have an update. We actually, more than an update, we will hear from the family of Elijah McClain coming up next. All right, we're back here on Live Impact News. We're going to go to a press conference with family members of the late Elijah McClain. You may recognize the name. Let's give a refresher on this case. So today, a Colorado court reversed homicide convictions against 2 paramedics. This happened yesterday. A Colorado court reversed homicide convictions against 2 paramedics in the 2019 death of Elijah McClain. Elijah McClain was pinned down by police and injected with a fatal dose of ketamine. His final words, "I can't breathe." This actually came before the George Floyd case a year later in Minneapolis. and the Colorado man's name became a part of those widespread social justice protests that swept the United States in 2020. An unforgettable time indeed. Now, the appeals court ordered new trials for Aurora Fire Rescue paramedics Jeremy Cooper and Peter Chichuniek. McLean had been forcibly restrained and put in a neck hold by police, who stopped him in response to a suspicious person complaint as the massage therapist walked home from a convenience store in a Denver suburb in 2019. So McLean, according to this reporting from the Associated Press, was a massage therapist. He was walking home from a convenience store in a Denver suburb. There was a call out to police about a suspicious person complaint. That resulted in police forcibly restraining and putting in a neck hold McLean, at which point he was injected with a fatal dose of ketamine. Criminal charges against the paramedics and emergency medical technicians involved in police custody cases are rare. McLean's death raised questions about the use of ketamine to subdue struggling suspects. The prosecution, widely impactful, not just on the psyche of America, but on first responders across the United States. New trials in the case will return the issue to the spotlight and could make first responders think twice when responding to calls involving people in police custody. A jury in 2023 found Cooper and Kichuniek guilty of criminally negligent homicide following a weeks-long trial in state district court. The jurors also found Kichuniek guilty of second-degree felony assault. So Kichuniek received 5 years in prison. Cooper avoided prison and was sentenced to 14 months in jail with work release and probation. So consequences for the officers as well, but those paramedics... those are the paramedics that we're speaking about. The criminally negligent homicide convictions are the ones that were overturned that we are talking about today. I apologize. I did not mean to create confusion there. Just trying to give as much background as we can. The appeals court will now experience more activity as Colorado Attorney General Phil Weisner will appeal Thursday's decision, according to a spokesperson. But what we're going to hear from now is the family of Elijah McLean as they continue to grapple with the consequences of a tragic day in 2019. Let's take a listen.
Thank you. Thank you. Before or after I end, sir. Thank you. After my remarks, we will open up for questions from the press. The Declaration of Independence says we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. The founders of this country once said that life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness are to be granted to all of us, unless you are black, unless your name is Elijah McLean, unless your name is Kylan Lewis, Jalen Sebron, Rajon Belt Stubblefield, and the litany of others that we have lost to police violence. And today we say no more. Most of us will never understand the pain it will be to be Miss Shanine McLean, to be Miss Veronica Sebron, or Miss LaRonda Jones. But those women were born for such a time such as this. They were born to be able to be the leaders that the community needs in moments of tension. They were born to make sure that their sons' names receive justice. Elijah McLean's name should be able to rest in peace. Instead, Elijah McLean's name consistently because of a system has to be brought back up to say his life was not the same as it were if he was a white boy. The courts got this wrong by overturning the convictions of Elijah McClain's murderers. The courts got this wrong when they said the jury of your peers didn't understand what they were convicting you on. The courts got this wrong, and I'll close with this, is that it is up to every single one of us to stand up, to fight back, to not allow this moment to be a moment where we sit comfortably. If it means we take it to the streets, so be it. If it means we return to 2020, so be it. If it means we show up to every Aurora City Council meeting, so be it. If it means we show up to the Aurora Fire Department, so be it. If it means we have to show up to the Aurora Police Department, so be it. We will not rest until justice comes for every person who has been taken by law enforcement. And the challenge now that I will issue is to the Aurora City Council. You acknowledged in a $15 million settlement that what happened to Elijah should not have happened. So now we look forward to the emergency resolution passed by council affirming what happened to Elijah should have never happened, that you support the original convictions, and that we will never allow history to be rewritten about Elijah McClain. You may write us down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may trot us in the very dirt, but still, like dust, we will rise. Thank you. And now we'll turn it over to Median to lead us in questions from the press.
Are there any questions from the members of press?
How do you interpret the court's decision legally?
How do we interpret the court's decision legally? The interpretation that we have as a community is that the courts will use anything they can to ensure that the system does not offer or afford accountability when there is a black life involved. That is the only way to interpret this. There are countless individuals, specifically black individuals, that are in the legal system asking for appeal. And they don't get the same treatment in those appeal decisions. For the Court of Appeals to say that this was about jury instructions on the standard of care, it's funny because I was at every day of the trial and I understood that instruction. For the Court of Appeals to require that the prosecution somehow, some way, get someone else involved or have to prove that someone else was involved, there's nothing that I can tie into logic. The paramedics knew the dosage that they were giving a 143-pound young man. They knew the dosage was enough to sedate a full-bred horse. They claim Elijah McClain had excited delirium, which isn't even a thing. They claimed Elijah McClain had the strength to push multiple officers off of his back while he was handcuffed. That never happened. So if the Court of Appeals watched the same footage that we watched, read the same transcripts that we witnessed, Appeals is yielding to an agenda of the brand of the Aurora Fire and Rescue. This was never about justice. This was about an optic. And they told us they would give us a conviction. We got 1 conviction out of 5. They told us we would get a sentencing. Peter Shakuniak was sentenced to 5 years in prison. But after serving 4 months and a day, the same judge reconsidered the sentence, released him to probation. And then just about 4 years later, the Court of Appeals said that's not enough. We will overturn the conviction. Every page you turn in this story is full of evil. Every page you turn in this story strips us of our humanity. And we need to grapple with the question of what are we asking the McClain family to do, and why are we asking them to do it? That's how we interpret that judgment.
You're asking for, within the next 24 hours, for political candidates, members of the state legislation to publicly come forward and acknowledge and confirm this conviction. What if they don't? And if they do, what will next steps look like?
I'll first answer the question of what if they don't affirm to support this conviction. I will say, welcome to your legacy. This is a moment where there is a roster. When this story is retold, every name that speaks on the right side of justice will be remembered as such. Every name that is on the wrong side of justice will be remembered as such. And if you don't, that question will turn into a demand. And as we have seen in history, protest is the language of those unheard. We have the playbook, we have the capacity, and we also, let me be clear, we have the clarity. So understand that when we show up demanding what we are seeking, do not try to pass it off like we're just being emotional. And do not ask us to be polite, because we're tired of that too. We have yielded through patience. You gave us a conviction, and now you are taking it away. So there's only one answer left from the people, and we are ready to provide that answer. We have not had specific conversations yet. We wanted to announce this publicly first to ensure that they understand that this is a collective call to action. We do have the resources and the intentionality to ensure that if we feel like they don't hear us in this press conference, we know how to reach you. You are not hard to find. These requests are reasonable. They are thoughtful, and they should be catalytic, because it is not enough. Our systems have not done enough, but we will start there. My final words will be to Jeremy Cooper and Peter Shakuniak. No matter what this legal system does with your conviction, what you cannot escape are your quiet moments knowing that you murdered Elijah McClain. What you cannot escape are the needs of who will eventually become elders that will retell our children, our grandchildren, and our great-grandchildren and everyone thereafter exactly who murdered Elijah McClain. Your legacy was already written when you decided to watch the police murder Elijah McClain and you decided to join in. So you might be able to celebrate this on paper, but what you cannot shake is the evil in your spirit that you will have to live through. Your legacy is tied to the murder of Elijah McClain. You made that choice. Your children, your grandchildren, and everyone thereafter will have to hear the story about your participation in the murder of Elijah McClain. So we may have to stand and fight in this moment, but we wish you everything you deserve in your moments alone. Because what you cannot take away is the truth. And as it was said before, to the living we owe respect. To the dead, we owe the truth. You did not offer Elijah McClain respect in life. But what we will not allow you to do is to deny him the truth in his death. Justice for Elijah McClain. Justice for Shaneen McClain. Justice for everyone who has had to come before and after. And I challenge
Okay, we're back here in the studio after hearing from the family of Elijah McClain following the overturning of convictions of those paramedics who injected McClain with ketamine on the day of his death while he was being restrained by police. And not just restrained by police, but we do have details here, however difficult to hear, about those restraints. It was forcibly restrained and put in a neck hold by police. McClain's final words were, "I can't breathe." And as you heard, they are continuing to fight for justice there as they continue to fight for the memory of Elijah McClain. And we do want to update, those are the paramedics we're talking about. There were obviously police officers involved here too. One Aurora police officer was convicted of homicide and third-degree assault in McClain's death. 2 other officers were acquitted. Okay, we're going to go to a commercial break here. When we get back, one more segment on Live Impact News. All right, welcome back to Live Impact News, where we are going to do a little sports corner here before we go. ABC, the sports capital of the United States right now. On this very station last night, an utterly thrilling NHL Stanley Cup Finals game. The Golden Knights up 2-0 heading into the third period. Even later on into the third period, that game ends 3-3. The Hurricanes come back to tie it, and ultimately each team trades goals to go 3-3 into overtime, where the Hurricanes win 4-3. Critical win for the Hurricanes. It ties the series up at 1 as they now head to Las Vegas. That series tied at 1. And tonight on ABC, 8:30 p.m., Game 2 of the NBA Finals. This matchup has as much intrigue as you could possibly hope for, and Game 1 delivered on that intrigue. It was an incredibly competitive game throughout. The energy was high. The tone in the room felt like an NBA Finals game. It had that weight. It had that gravity. And Jalen Brunson was the star of the night. Victor Wembanyama has been the star of the playoffs. Jalen Brunson, the star of the night, as he leads the New York Knicks back from a late deficit, 14 down at one point in the second half, to come back and get the critical win in San Antonio. You want to get that home court advantage on your side. New York did not have it going into that game. Jalen Brunson and the rest of the Knicks able to steal one in Texas. So now they have the home court advantage. If you are the road team, getting a split in those first two games is what you hope for to try and win the series, to have a great chance to win the series. If the Knicks win tonight, they are in the absolute dominant driver's seat position in the series. The Spurs, favored by 6.5 tonight. Everyone expects them to bounce back. They were the favored team going into the finals. They can still knot this thing at 1-1, and then you go back to New York, and we absolutely have a series. I expect this based on Game 1, how competitive that was, how good these teams are, the quality of basketball. We hope and expect a long series. Again, 8:30 p.m. tonight, right here, this station, ABC, not Live Impact News, not the 13 News Now app, but you get the point, ABC. Knicks, Spurs, do not miss it. The emergence of the next great one and the fight for one of the most basketball crazy cities on earth and one of the top media markets on the globe to get their first title since the early 70s in the Knicks. Victor Wembanyama trying to stake his place amongst the greats of the game at a very early age. That's tonight on ABC, and that's it for us on Live Impact News. Thanks for hanging with us this week, everybody.